Hello, hello, it's Imaginary Villain here, and it's once again time to stream some game dev. And to post this link all over the place so that people can, well, probably watch question mark? Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But either way, I'm going to get a lot of game dev done, and that's really what matters the most here. Because no matter what happens, I was going to do this anyway. The only difference is now it kind of focuses me on actually getting it done. Which I'm not going to lie, kind of a good thing. Alright, post that there. Tell everyone that I am busy streaming away. Close all that up, blah, blah, blah. I think today we're going to be doing some enemy behaviors. It's going to because a lot of these enemies just don't do anything at this point, or they're very limited enemy behaviors, so I need to fix that. Enemy behaviors. I'm saying that also so I know what to type into here for this thing, so. Okay, do this, and blah, blah, blah. You know what my favorite part about this is it actually notifies me that I am live. You all cannot be embedded in the media, huh? Okay. Why? Why can't this be embedded? How weird. Well, we can fix that. We're going to go directly to the video. This music is terrible. I don't know why they would be using that for, like, it's very quiet and not that good. Yeah, not the best. So that's a beauty with the streaming thing like that. I'm just going to keep messing it up until eventually I succeed. I'll just bash my head into the proverbial wall of streaming until eventually the wall gives. Probably. Maybe. Sure. Okay, probably not. That's okay. Alright, so I think I need to a little Jackboss does the things. I mean, it's not particularly challenging, I think was its problem. And there's the anti-mill boss that doesn't actually this doesn't really have a lot of behaviors at all that it does. Actually, the anti-bells need work in general. Almost all these enemies need work. I almost think I should probably ditch some of these extra ones here, like these extra side ones here. And then just focus on the first version, then maybe a variety version. Because I want it to be playable, but for balancing purposes, balancing this many versions of the enemies over such a... I mean, there's only supposed to be like 6 levels in the prototype, so how many different enemies do I plan on introducing during the prototype? And the answer is probably not that many. I mean, right now there's effectively 3 flavors of each type of enemy, 3 bosses, and then there's actually a 4th type of enemy that is not quite... I mean, they sort of do okay, but they don't do enough damage, and they're... I'm not sure what I do with them. The clown heads are, I guess, geared more towards the player being not that strong, and the other things are geared towards the player being really strong. So I think the clown heads actually become the first enemy by virtue of them being kind of weak by comparison. So, yeah, that's probably it. Close that up so it doesn't list me as watching myself, which is just bizarre and weird. Why would you ever want to do that? But actually, one of the things I have learned is the sound of my own voice while doing this is, in fact, I hear it a lot now. So the other thing to note is, until I go back to the video a second time here on the YouTube backend, it won't actually tell me if anyone is watching or anything. It'll just have it there. Okay. So, I guess we'll work with the Annibale boss here, but I'm gonna probably steal a bunch of the code from this one here. So this one here had kind of a variety going on here of a lot of things. Probably too many things, honestly. I remember it being not very aggressive towards the player, like it needed to be. Um, Balancing is something I never really factored in for game dev. Okay, so this just spawned different patterns of things. So it almost needs multiple types of projectiles that it does, because the actual animations I have for it aren't that many. So it spawns event 13. Okay. And that's this thing here. I almost want the bosses to have all the versions of everything else. I think I'm going to make a poison projectile for the Annibale here. So let's give it its own thing here. I also think I need to just unify the projectiles so that they have their own massive code thing here. Because a lot of them repeat what they do. Every projectile, I'm going to want them to have to do this portion here, the impact thingy. And then every projectile will have a different thing here. It does NPC 4 at that point. This doesn't even do NPC 2. I get the feeling my entire system for this is just a mess. That might actually be the first thing I should do, is sit there and fix the mess that is my projectiles here. Because all these projectiles all over the place are... These use projectile 1 and 2. What are projectile 1 and 2? This is the thing here, like I made so many different projectiles. And normally I'm very big on just having things be so streamlined that they just go to the same handful of things, so no one has to really do anything special. Okay, this is the player one there. Huh. Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's the same code. Well, this one's actually slightly different too, because it turns itself, it tries to do a through thing to try to get around stuff. And then you... Whatever. Streamlining it right now is not something I want to do, because once again, I'm kind of not focusing on what should be done. And the poison thingy here applies poison to the player, which was this impact command I made, which is literally just the collides command, but instead it changes self variables on the target. What is this? I gave variables 89 is that, but in this case it would just be player. When you write all these different commands with all these different potential things, it's hard to remember which was which. But you need to actually tell it. So I will look that up real fast. Okay, so I can just do estimate for that, or was this really written to only work towards the player? Ooh. I think this needs an additional thing here. So does the player have a hit by? I think we're just going to use the distance calculation for the player, not even the impact. And then it's just going to turn the switch on to say the player is poisoned. Now I kind of want to make a thing where the anti-bell just vomits out a poison shot on the ground, just like make an animation where we're just doing that. It just goes all over the ground. Like there's some sort of weird poison zombie and not an Annabelle doll, basically. An Annie-Bell. It looks like a Raggedy Ann doll. I'll just probably borrow this code here. Right. I'm just going to spawn this version of the poison pool. Probably should have thought this through when I was doing things here, but I did not. Oh, my destroyables. I also want to improve the number of destroyables that are out there too. Which might be a thing that I do tonight as well, but that's just adding another to the list. It's not like a big deal. Everything that I'm using is basically in this one little section here, with the exception of these over here, like the teddies. But otherwise, the rest of these events aren't even being used. So... Okay, so this one here, annual poison shots. I don't need all these, I just need one of these poison pool events. These are actually more refined than the other ones here, than the player ones. Maybe I want to put all the player ones there too. So it goes to projectile 1, and projectile 1 does... find direction to the player, and then it just goes through on. Oh, I remember why it did this. Because they were impacting off the enemy's hitboxes. Yeah. Okay. And this one spawns, this is 196, so let's make certain it spawns 196. Sure, so that's all set up and ready to go, actually. Anything that's firing a projectile is pretty easy, it's just what I want the projectile to do. And then NPC2 projectile 2, NPC actually is... So I read all these things here, and then I go back and follow all the logic of every single thing here to figure out where everything was going. Let's see, it checks for the status menu. If it collides with the map blocks array or any of those, it does that. If it collides with the player, it does object damage. I guess I could just have the same code here and then just have a variant. So let variant equal just a string. It doesn't really matter what it is. Actually, and obj this get, actually not get self variable. What am I going to call this? I don't want to use type. Well, I could use type. Maybe type is fine, I guess. I'm not using it anywhere else in here. Alright, so with type in hand, it's a variable type. And instead of having a number, I'm actually just going to put what it is. Poison. Just shot. Just so I don't confuse it with the poison pool, which it would spawn. And then if it doesn't find that, it's just going to do nothing. Perfectly fine. And then if it collides with the player, yeah, I guess I do that there. I'm pretty much going to want all of these to do probably those, right? So there's no reason to make any sort of a change on that. Yeah, because I don't think I'm going to make a projectile that goes through the destroyables or... It's actually enemy array. And it's going to go through the destroyables. Enemies are map blocks. Yeah, so I guess I'm just wishing on the collides with player for these. Okay, fair enough. The block will always work, so it's actually just here. Switch variant. And no matter what happens, it's going to mark itself as true. And this will be the default case. Right. Because if it does nothing, I want to just damage the enemy or damage the player. And then case poison shot. Poison shot. I'm not typing anymore, it doesn't matter. Break there, and then let's see. I think it's just slowed and poison are the ones I need to set. Pretty certain. Yeah. I created this event a while ago with the intention of the player being able to be poisoned, and then had the player only able to poison themselves. So 67 and 124. Am I going to have a variety of durations? I guess I am, huh? But, actually, no, I might recycle this code so it can live up here. Duration. So that goes. Duration is not a string, it's a number. I think I had a special setup for it if an enemy was poisoned. Now this isn't actually going to affect anything other than it's just going to hit the player with that thing there. So we need the game switches here. So turn 124 on, switches, set value 124 true. What do I call that one anyway? It's poisoned. Sure. Variables dot set value. And let's see, in this case, 67, sure. We're going to set duration. Reason duration. Alright, and then it's here. Well, duration. I guess we'll try 10 for now. It seems a reasonable number. Alright, so it does those. It does do NPC2 there, sure. And projectile 2 is just it moving, which I'm not sure I feel about that. This music is absolutely terrible. I've been going through Dark Fantasy Studios' collection of things they sent me, and pretty much every one of these so far is just really boring. Like, this is their cult stuff. And it's just so... I'm just clipping through it. Yeah, that's horrible. And it's boring. They all sound like nothing. They're so quiet. Alright, well, let's fix that, because those are terrible. Let's just delete those. How about some slasher music? That sounds at least louder than the near silent stuff going on in the background. Well, not always silent, but it was very much ambiance. It just wasn't quite all that great. Huh. Well, this is at least different. More Dark Fantasy Studio stuff. With over 1,000 tracks to listen through. I'll get through them eventually, maybe. Alright, so this here is going to spawn... Okay, I wanted to create a 257 at the target. Well, they're not all going to spawn the same one, I think, so... That's spawn event equal... I have a deflip at the bottom down here. Let's see if status is affected. They don't get status affected. Where's the flip command that flips everything? So if OJ spawn event is greater than 0, I will have my event spawner spawn the next, I'll spawn the event in. I think I'm just gonna have it spawn at the actual location. Let's just spawn event. Wait a minute. Then we do event obj. Because it's just the entire event, I can just do this X and then this Y. And then for here, spawn event. And the event number I want to spawn is going to be 257. All right. Spell info, this event ID. I realized I didn't really write this in for the, it's this one. I didn't write this in for the enemy, did I? Spell info. Wait, spell info was on what again? NPC spell info. Sure. I might need to make this more complicated to dictate what is and isn't being spawned. Because all of those were built around the player. I guess these can just be hard set as well. It could just steal the thing off this, where it's just if game player is close enough to it, it just triggers that. Well, these things are all just so all over the place. So I guess this is actually a pool and not a projectile, so it's going to have its own thing. I probably want a different projectile, a different pool for them, so you can see which one is and isn't the players. Since I don't have friendly fire. That's probably the right idea. What's the timer? I was changing which one here? Slow timer, so poison timer. Sure, it'll set 10 on that for reasons, and then 126, so poisoned. All right, let's bring up the particle emitter, the particle creator, and we will fix the bug that it has, where you have to enlarge it to full screen, then do that, and it makes it work. And load. Let's load up a particle. Let's see. The anti-bills like their little pentagrams, so I think theirs should have pentagrams in it. Very thematic for them. No stars. Probably not these at all either. There should be some bubbles too. A bit in reverse here. Does that look better? Or I could just do the pentagrams, which are really hard to even see in the first place. I guess I could adjust the size anyway. It's not really that easy to see either. Okay, that's not gonna look good. I might have to make another graphic for it or something so theirs can be differentiated. I guess the one with pentagrams does differentiate it pretty well. We're going to do a quick test just to see how it looks. Because in game everything looks a bit different. So Poison Pool, Annie Bell. I usually do all my saving off stream so people don't see any potential personal files in my computer that I just didn't bother to hide away. One of these days I'm going to go to the trouble to make it look so much I'm gonna make it streamer safe, not even look better, just make it streamer safe, so you know, like child proofing a room, but instead stream proofing it, because you know you can't let chat hurt themselves, it would just be terrible. Alright, so we save the particling here. I can bag it over at this point because I don't care anymore. I just don't want people seeing those things necessarily. I guess I could put the Annie Bells right in front of themselves. And it's Annie Bell Poison Pool, right? I don't know. At this point, it's probably easier if all the poison pools are in the same thing. I think I used what? Pentagram and bubbles? Let me double check. Bring up all the files for this. Gotta get the names exactly correct, or it will crash the game. But I might have actually put something in to stop particle emitter from just crashing the game if it can't find the right files like it originally had. I've made a lot of fucking changes to it, but the problem is due to the terms of service on it, it prevents me from handing out those changes. So sorry to anyone watching, not much I can do. Oh. Why should bubbles mean sorry? I'm thinking. And then if it hits the player, it does this. All right, and then 188. So, what's my encounter table look like? Where does 188 even spawn at? Number 2. All right, well, now the only ones that spawn are in fact the poison Annies. I think it's been like 30 minutes in before I've actually even launched the game once. You know, I had to figure out which code I wanted to do and then write all that code, so, yeah. I should almost make it where the number 1 is where all the enemies spawn that I need. Why is it doing a little lag spike thing? Oh. Here. Open. Yeah, it's like a lag spike going on. Interesting. I'll say they're all open right now. Sure. Let me check the thing here. That's weird. What are we doing that's causing lag? Maybe it doesn't like all the browsers open, since it is like, you know, sharing browsers in JavaScript is limited based upon how many browser windows are available and the resources those are all being used. I mean, how much each one's using. So going here. I will figure it out in a moment. Yeah, it's weird. It shouldn't be lagging like that. I want to see that use its thing, and then I'll figure out why it's lagging. Oh, these are like the shadow annies that are spawning. Also, their projectiles don't work very well, do they? Oh. I see where part of the problem is. I think these ones I might not bother with an impact so much as just if they get close enough to the player. Because, well, the player's thingy is not that big, the impact. The player can walk around everything. So I almost think that I'd want to do that. I'll make one quick change here. I want their projectile to look like the poison projectile. The player knows exactly what's coming. And then no more pentagram shot, but instead that's sure. And then why is it lagging? That was the other thing I was trying to figure out what the issue is. I'm assuming it's just MZ started doing this weird Qt web engine thing. It's just loading those two, and it causes lag, and I don't understand why it's making them. Seems to have no rhyme or reason, because I hadn't even launched the game yet, and it already had them. So it's something that MZ is doing. I don't know what. Okay, so we do that there. I guess I changed them all the projectile impacts is what I was going to do. All right, I'm going to save this code just in case I decide to use something different, but it really doesn't seem very good. And then let me get the comparison code. I guess I'll make all the projectiles about 100 big or so. I guess I could make a system for that too, but for now I just want to test and see if this works better because it works so badly now. But some of the projectiles just kind of sit there on the player. So distance 100, and then pixel is true because I wrote this thing, so I set it to also use pixels, but only if you have Q movement. Otherwise, it would do nothing. It would just error. Okay, so yeah, I think that's everything I want to do with this particular test. I might be streamlining projectiles tonight. This mess of what they're doing is just not what I was hoping for. I mean, I guess I am doing some enemy behaviors as well. Specifically, the anti-bells are now getting a new attack. All right, well. I might just default be unlocked so I don't have to cook that every time here. I could also make the anti-bells spawn in the first area too. Oh, look at that. Lag is gone. I don't know what that web engine thingy is doing. Also, the poison annies they're just also black. It's not like they're even that exciting. Well, they follow the player, but they don't actually break. It's airing on 1033. Alright, well, I did copy paste it without paying attention to some things here. And it should be this. Alright. Also, while I'm at it, I'm going to make the change that everything starts out unlocked. Because that system now works, so I don't really need to sit there and continuously mess with it for now. Like 10, sure. There's not even 10 areas, so it doesn't work. And then I want the player to spawn farther over. I think at about 100 or something is where I want them to spawn at. Change this here, and not 20, it needs to be 100. Yeah. And now we test it. Someone looking up MZ tutorials. That's very exciting for them. Well, I'm happy to answer people's questions on how to do a lot of things. The real basics probably are better served with the tutorial. I mean, if you want to learn how to paint tiles, it's, well, first of all, not probably even narrating a full tutorial, but I don't really use tiles. I mean, I know how to use them. I just don't use them because I don't really need to. Why are you not turning off? Alright, so 133 is also the issue, and I just forgot to do a couple things here. So 133. Did I have a let spawn event equal? I did. But you know what I might not have done? Actually given the spawn event to there. Right, let's see. So this should spawn the event. 257, okay. For some reason it is erroring. Oh, well, you see, sometimes you write your stuff backwards. Today is that day. Today is backwards day, but only one coding, and it's not a very good plan. It's does not make things happen in reverse. It in fact just makes things break. But you know, it's okay. Also, for some reason, I clipped my arm on my desk, right on the funny bone. I was like, oof, feels so good. Yeah, that's it. Spoiler: it didn't feel that good. No. Sometimes I guess it's just like face palm action. You go to face palm so hard that you ignore where your arm is, just smack your desk, fail at the face palm, and in general complete the cycle of failure there. From having failed the code to failing to successfully face palm. Let's see. Ooh. Huh. So that hit me. And then MPC4 happened. NPC 4 says what? It says, doesn't even have its own thing here. It's all in here. Alright, NPC 4, what do you do? More importantly, why aren't you in here? Oh, it's actually way up here. I'm apparently blind. Blind me. Didn't notice that. NPC 4. Oh, it just says page 3. And then turns its self HD off. Alright, so. Oh, it looks like it's looped around here. I guess those ones can stay. Let's make some new musical decisions here. These ones are called superheroes. Should be a little more exciting. I would hope so. Then I don't remember what that was even called. It was okay, but Superheroes of the Apocalypse Age. That sounds like a fun track. So many of these things just sit in the background and just don't even notice them. Last ones are called Slasher. Let's see. Alright, so my number 2 here. Actually, just number 3. Why did I click that? In fact, why is that even open? Get that onto the screen a little better. So much codes. Tries object damaged. I mean, it's literally just stealing code off of this one, or I thought it was. I need to streamline. This is just silly. Every one of these has just some sort of different setup going on. I think the player needs their own ones or not. Or just put them all into one giant thing. Okay. Because then I want to sit there and try to figure out why the code in each one doesn't work necessarily as well as it should. Because there's apparently code for 6 different projectile codes right there. And then I think these have a projectile too. Now it's explosions. This one has a projectile. And then there's all these projectiles. And then any future enemies that have projectiles are going to be like this thing has like a projectile, and this has a projectile, and it's getting a little ridiculous. I'm just saying. And this was just for the enemy things there. Alright, well, I need these because it tells what that is there, and I don't need direction, gameplay, or last direction at all, right? Oh, yeah, that's the projectile moving thing, but we're not even going to use that. I like the heat-seeking ones better, or the ones that follow the mouse. So I don't think there's anywhere where I'm even going to use that. So I don't need last direction there. I don't need this giant skip thing here. So let's just start fixing up all these things so they work a little better. I do need that for destination. I don't need this because it's just on skip and it's already working. So NPC 1, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to go down each page and set up exactly as it's supposed to be. This sets up what kind of damage it does, so Ideally, I want everything to follow exactly, so I'm probably just going to follow this player's thing there for everything and just convert it all to exactly the same system the player is using and just expand it for enemies and stuff, get it all in one place. I can already see that this is going to be a confusing nightmare if I don't. Yeah. Because, I mean, this could just run NPC 2, and look, it would do all of these already. Instead of what else it's doing. Like, what does NPC 2 do as well? Like, that's quite a bit already. I still don't actually know why it arrowed there. Because it's supposed to flip at cell switch D, right? What a nightmare. First of all, the reason I wrote like this is so I wouldn't have to do that. Log spawn event. And we're going to write that in there because what we're doing here is I want to see where this is breaking at. And I'm just going to literally go through and fix everything so that it all works around this system here. So, well, once it was going to be an enemy behavior stream. Now it looks like it's going to be a fix the projectiles so they don't break everything stream. And then go from there. Which honestly doesn't seem like a terrible plan. Because, yeah. Yeah. Oops. Apparently you can do things at exactly the right moment and cause it to open an event while still opening the game. I forget what that Qt web engine error is where it launches those, but it does it even before the game launches. Like, it's weird. Okay, so it doesn't break there. We see that it actually worked there. And cell switch D triggers in here. MPC4. Spawn table projectile. MPC4 just runs actually page 3 of all things. I might just rename it to MPC3, make it easier. This just does the recycle code here. Object damage this event ID. And then you know, the other one, I think it wasn't even really destroying itself very well, so it wasn't actually yeah, let's see. I think for 4 here, I'm gonna have to just have it destroy its projectile. So object damaged. And the thing it's damaged is the projectile. This object destroyed. Doesn't seem like the correct delete command for a particle emitter. I have the code written in here as well because I tend to recycle code all the time. There's the right code, right? Let's just copy paste this code. And this is the main code I tend to use for everything. Alright, yeah, it's just looks like it's the same. So it's not this, obviously, because this is not an available thing. It destroys itself. That's interesting. Why in the world would this one error, but not the other version of it, which already... Let me check something here. Oh. Oh, I think I understand what I did wrong. My coding was impeccable. My use of my code, like whenever I code the plugins, my coding is usually very good. When I code the when I code the commands to actually use them, it's not always the best. But in this case, I just forgot to tell it that that particle existed. Oops. It's like, I'm like, okay, well, you know, it's, yeah, my bad. Just commenting that MZ is better than MV and that it can actually handle both types of animations, effects here and the old version. A feature they added in, which, I mean, isn't super necessary to me because I really just use pixie particles for most of my animations, but yeah, you know, it's cool. I ain't complaining. Alright. Actually, I'm at the right one already. So, one thing I've learned about streaming, I have to stop taking a drink there, is it's just, you talk this much, your mouth just gets really dry. But unfortunately, I don't have an extra table nearby my streaming setup, so I need to, whenever I put the thing down, it actually makes a loud enough thump for people to hear it. That's not good. Kind of like this mouse control is not very good. Okay, well that's huge, first of all. But it does actually look kind of, you know, not terrible. Does this poison effect ever end? How poisoned am I? Okay, it does end. What's that number this is flashing? That's weird. I'm gonna fix this heal spell here because it's flashing a strange number. Okay, well, this needs to happen below this because otherwise it'll tell you the number that you've been healed there. But actually, how much I want to heal, plus this heal effect here doesn't scale. So I need to fix that too, for that matter. Do I put how much it heals? Probably, right? Like, do I really want to put the player's current hit points? It doesn't seem to make too much sense, does it? In this case, it'll just say 15. Actually, you know, it's fine. I can say 15. And it already has a built-in system to remove itself, so it doesn't matter. So, I think with this particle, it's too big. But it's very visible, and I do kind of like how visible it is. even if it is ginormous. I kind of like that one much better. But I think the lifetime's a little long on it. Now let's put them right next to each other there. We'll try that. And this one is Poison Pool Annie Bell. Let's get this one out there because I don't really need that up there anyway. Dump this in Pocket Quest Particles thing, so maybe it's a little smaller and therefore a little less ridiculous on the screen for how much it takes. I don't really want it to be this massive thing. Trying to figure out how long the animations have been available for the regular animations for MZ. I think it's been at least half a year. Someone's just asking. I'm like, no. Alright, so I'm fine with that. And my projectile thingies work. That is good. That's just going to be all about streamlining, so they all use the same thing. Just like all these basically use, you know, as you can see, they tend to recycle the map block thingy, and that's it. Like, they're all like the same. Even the enemies, you know, NPC 2 is used in there, NPC 4, 5, 6. Also, I'm going to renumber that to 3 just for my own sanity. Even if there is a space in between them, because I actually don't use the real NPC 3. Just for my own sanity. These are all going to say the right numbers. In hindsight, I should use one with all the things were the same and before I made these changes, but you know, I didn't. But ideally, I really want almost all my events to use the same handful of things. Oh yeah, that's for the controller buttons. I mean, not for the controller, that's the ability buttons. Which I think I can almost recycle this code, but the way the person wrote their plugin is I have to have a different common event for each one anyway. So even though it's like 90% the same code, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I could have a common event that just retypes this code, I guess, but I already have it. Like, this is all I'm going to use. I don't need any more buttons, so it's that whole efficiency that doesn't actually save work thing. Yeah, I do that a lot. It's a big bad problem I have. I can always make it better. Yeah, I guess I could. Should I? No. It's probably fine to leave it alone. Yeah. Okay. I want to see the size of that. The pool it spawns. There is no balance in this game, so I'm gonna come up with some way to balance it later. I could actually put various numbers in there, like have the player be able to set their own balance thingies. If I want people to try to test it and do that, but that'd be kind of cool. All right, shoot at me, little one. A little seal clap. Hits me, leaves a thing on the ground. That one's good. Well, first of all, I don't think it should, with how efficient those are, I don't really think it should poison for anywhere near as long. Maybe just 3 seconds or something, because it stacks. I think. Does it stack? You know, it should stack. All right. I'm feeling the stacking on this one. Oh, it's object damage to the pages. This NPC thing, you know, that just handles NPCs is getting kind of ridiculous. It's already almost 1,300 lines of code. I guess there's some stuff that doesn't need to be there. Page 2, projectile. Game variables, dot value, 67 plus duration. Console dot log, dot value, 67. And just so this lasts long enough that I can actually see a duration change, we'll make it 5. Though I don't think I really want it to be 5 with how efficient those are, but I'm not very good so far at balance. I'm really good at making weird crap. Just, make this, bizarre system and this, and do graphics and things. I'm great at that. But when it comes to actual gameplay design, I've actually spent a lot less time gameplay actually balancing them. I've made lots of ideas for games, and some of them are kind of fun, but why don't you want to go in the picture, little one? My keyboard not working suddenly? I think there's something wrong with the USBs on my computer because I've been having issues with mouse and keyboard. So the motherboard is being kind of awkward. Let me open this up. Yep, Poison 10 right there. Nice. Do I want a poison counter? Or a status thing somewhere that says? Okay, I think I want a poison thingy, so... This was not something that was on the itinerary, but you know what? It is now. I have an idea. I'm going to close that one up a bit. We're going to add a new component. In this case, actually, no, we're going to add a group. Add a group. And the group is going to be status. Or current status. Alright. And, it's going to have a picture. We'll put a temporary picture in here. Is it like poison bubbles or something, I think is what I was using? I have forgotten the name of the graphic I was using. Well, it's easy to fix that, no problem. Bubbles green, okay. Where is that? There we go. I always put the color afterwards, even though, in English I'm writing it the wrong way, but when I go to find them, they're all next to each other. So it'll be like bubbles green, bubbles red, and all these things are right there. Also, I should make other color bubbles. Actually, I'm going to put it below that there so I can just move the whole thing easily. And then, like 30%? I don't know. That's not good enough. Let's do this. I want it to be a little cartoony in how big it is. Just make it a little... I mean, it is a lighthearted game, kind of. Until you think about what's really going on, but otherwise it's supposed to be kind of lighthearted, so... Well... status graphic, actually, current status graphic. Now let's move it around. All right, so we're gonna have it probably right about there. A new component. In this case, it's gonna be this text, right? I'm gonna copy other text so it uses the exact same information. Copy, paste. maybe not quite the same information. Alignment, we'll center this. Poison counter, I guess. And it's actually pretty easy to set, as soon as I remember which thing it was. Alright, let me double check which one this even is. The poisoned event would have it. So 67. And I'm also going to make 124 required for it to be visible. Yeah, I think I'm just going to have a specific one set for each. Let's do it this way. So 67. Put that there. Current status. They're just like, no, okay, I can do multiple ones here. So current switch here. No, let me see here. There's no point in this. I would like this to be under... I guess I can live under these here. Should probably be in the front though. Now it'll only show up with those with active, and then in this case, let's call this poison graphic. And the display condition for this is that the player is poisoned. Which I believe is like 120 something. Yeah, poisoned. It's on. Yeah, this one is going to be a number here. Poison timer. Greater than 0. And then we can add some dopey animations, I guess. Actually, I might just run that animation, see what it does. Well, we'll just opacity it in. Okay. So what this is going to do is it's going to make it so that I can have an easy confirmation of what's going on here. I almost don't know if I want the players, if I want that to show up like the damage with the player's head, or if I want the damage to show on the things down here, like a minus from those. I don't know. Things I didn't really think about when I was designing this, but just little things that you just don't really ever, it just never occurs to you when you're doing initial designs. It's like, Alright. People are messaging me, why? Alright, so Poison me, little dolls. Give me what for, do it. I want to see my new shiny graphic. Come on. You did not show, little one. Why? Oh, I know. Because I don't use it anymore. Maplet's the only one I don't use. I need to remember to just delete all this stuff here. So I stop accidentally using it. Oh, man. Got a wonderful massage today. It was a deep tissue massage, so afterwards you always end up kind of sore. Because they're designed to fix problems, and she's got very strong hands, and oh gosh, had to work on my back. It was glorious, but painful. But glorious. Oh, well, it would probably have helped if on the new one I actually put it where it was supposed to be. Right here. Do a fun rotation here, and it can start at, we'll do like start rotation to 10, end rotation to -10. Just a kind of a wobble. Not going to wobble the number though. Just the poison graphic. Okay. We're trying to get this done ahead of schedule. I might. A lot of things are just getting done pretty fast. So. Yep, right there. But it hit her for 10. That's not right. Square's off, right? Yep. Okay. Why did you 10? Somehow setting a duration a different thing? Maybe I don't do a poison pool. Maybe it's just a graphic that just sits there and doesn't damage the player. I mean, he's already chased the player and poisoned him, so it seems kind of... I should do one or the other. I should just spawn a pool somewhere. Otherwise, it's just a projectile with an obnoxious drawback. Oof, let me think about this one. Oops. Let's see. Who's interested? Made a quick change to my post about this, which, you know, I've written it poorly. Yeah, it's really this, I think. Just skip this. I don't think I care about that. Make certain that's what's causing it, and the code for the actual thing isn't wrong. I also want the thing to be heat-seeking in the first place. What's that hitting? There's a hidden thing there. Oh. The poison pool itself has a big interaction collider. But it doesn't actually work on that. It just works based on that. So the interaction collider is just in the way. This one makes sense. The other one not so much. But I could actually have the player impact it too. It's not a bad idea. Though I did find that didn't work very well. Because the player's one is just too small. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens once I get this done. Like what people think of the well, once I get the prototype done, what people think of it. Did 10. Did do 10. It's like it ran twice or something. So, let's see, it goes into destroying itself. Once again, this is just a mess. Removes itself from the projectile's array, destroys itself, all that, deletes its emitter. That part works. It is logging this here. Let me see. I get the feeling it's running the code twice in that short period of time. But that seems weird because it's actually literally in this code telling it to switch its self switch. But apparently it's just happening so fast. That is possible. When you start putting everything in the inside of plugins like this, it executes the code in a single frame, making your game way less laggy and just way more efficient code-wise. Your RAM will love you. But sometimes the rest of the game is a little slow to react. Oh, okay, I just need to see. Spawn the event twice. I only got hit once and yet it told the number twice. Yeah, I added it twice. There literally just needs to be a wait time. Because apparently the code to destroy it is not very efficient. But I think this will mess up how it moves. So I gotta be careful about this. Like, I might have to set up a ticker instead. Actually, I'm pretty certain I will have to. My mouse is not working currently very well. Oh. Like sometimes it doesn't want to pathfind very well. Might have been a change I made though, so. Weird. Anyway. Seems to work fine. It's kind of obnoxious. Okay, well, first of all, let's make it shorter. Am I going to have the pool actually even do anything? Is that necessary? Or do I want the pool to be what actually damages the player? OBS disconnected and reconnected. My internet is wonderful today. Or maybe it's just my computer has some problems. Ever since I bought this thing, the motherboard has been just garbage. I'm having issues with its USBs, and I had to go through like 3 versions of it, and it's part of a bundle. It was a nightmare. It did not work out very well. Would this be a better system here? Or is it better that it just poisons them and moves on? Well, while I'm thinking about that, I think I'm going to sit there and streamline this a bit. Now, these actually are somewhat streamlined. Ones that aren't streamlined are, I guess, the player ones. Yeah, it looks like I streamlined a lot of this. That's an interesting idea here. Whereas my microphone picks everything up very well. So like lots of extra little noises where I hit something, just hear a thump or whatever. Even like, you know, me drinking something can take, it just shows up. I guess all of these could actually create their P emitter right here, like on projectile 1. Is there a need to do that? Could I just make it where it just puts the enemy type in that? And... MC1 does what? Huh. Oh, I see the spawn table doesn't even matter. It should, though. Or does projectile 1 set that up? What a nightmare of just code everywhere. Well, if that's the case, I don't need to have it set in each of these other ones. It's just setting it right here. And then I don't really need to find direction. But do I? I guess maybe I do. I don't know. So, wait. Are the projectiles running that twice? Uh-oh. That could explain a lot of problems going on here. Oh, it is. Huh. Yeah. It is running the code twice. Wow. Wow. That might explain why they were behaving so badly. It would make a lot of sense. A lot of sense indeed. Sometimes you gotta find this out the hard way. Well, I'm gonna take a bio break real fast because, yeah. And then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna fix these projectiles because they're a nightmare. And not a good nightmare for the player. They're a nightmare for the dev. Alright, be right back. Alright, I return. Do all the projectiles need to move towards the player like this? I mean, do they? Are they all heat-seeking? Seems like it'd be harder on the player and therefore probably more exciting. Unless I want to have them get the player's current coordinates and then move towards that. Well, that kind of sucks, because then if the player moves even like one space, it would miss. And that doesn't seem exciting at all. Yeah, I'm probably not doing that. I wonder if that just improved everything right there. Yeah, the projectile thing has to be on there. This has a self-destruct variable. Why does it need a self-destruct variable? Let's see. Okay. Why don't they all have self-destruct variables then? It seems like they would need them. These all have them. This is a duration. Is there like two different systems here? Oh my gosh. Duration? There's that duration, okay. But that's fine, that's supposed to be there. I might just make that. I'm gonna make it like status duration. Yeah, I'll make that status duration. I'm also going to change this here and change it in that just so I don't confuse it once again, because I literally just made that and here I am already confusing it for what it does. It has a self-destruct. Okay, sure. Do you all have self-destructs? Yeah, okay. This doesn't. Let's give them all a self-destruct. I don't think it's going to use that, but okay. Now, those are all really streamlined. It's just the player ones that are kind of a nightmare. Sort of. I mean, it does kind of go into a whole mess of who knows what's going on a lot of these, so that is true. Those are fine. And these I'm going to need... I mean, if all the projectile is going to do that, I guess the spawn table being a projectile does make sense. I just don't know if I want all the movements to be like that. That seems a little dicey. And then their page 2 just moves towards players. They're all heat-seeking. And then there's these, which are just... what in the world? So I need this, and I need... Why does that have an enemy type of 0? What does that even do? It's going to do NPC 1, so enemy type of 0. Which doesn't seem to do... Well, it becomes E-type. So what does E-type do? What doesn't E-type do, I guess is the real question. So we're looking for NPC 1 first. It's object damage. Apparently it's a lot. So NPC 1 is going to probably run that. Alright, so NPC 1 runs this here and doesn't care about E-type. There's so many things that are extra here, it just seems insane to me. I also think that I could actually have the particle get created by like spell info or something here. Or even just in the NPC page 1. It's already set in the spawn table a particle, right? Or a projectile. Which it has right here. Well, the problem is the P emitters might need to be adjusted, so I guess that wouldn't make much sense or anything special. But I am doing the same code multiple times over in every single one of these. Or at least the P emitter and the Z set is going in all of them. And then it's going to run this spell info here. Maybe player projectile needs its own special one here. This also doesn't run page 1 either. I guess it's none of those things, I suppose. And the code is ran somewhere else, so it's only the projectiles that would run that. So those wouldn't run it necessarily. Huh. Well, let's make a thing here. I guess for now we'll have player projectile. So we'll have them up here where the player can find them. So, player projectile. And we're going to run it right about here because it's just recycling so much of the same code, and I'm going to make more abilities later. So it makes the most sense to make my life a little less hard. Just a little, though. So this goes in there. I guess I'm still setting that. This is travel can set there. Spawn table that sits there. This seems to get set everywhere. And so does this. All right. Only the projectiles follow this, so those are the ones that get there. This goes there. I get the feeling damage might not need to be set there. I don't think it does anything. Yeah, wait, damage is set by spell info, right? I think I might be messing up the damage in that by doing it twice. This is why we're cleaning up the code. You're seeing duplicate situations here where they're triggering twice and ruining itself. NPC spell info. Actually, way up here. Should be at the bottom because the only thing I work on is usually at the bottom. Makes it easier to find. Damage. Set right there. It's variable damage. This does not need to be set here. Worse yet, it's actually actively messing things up. Yeah, those are all part of that, right? Double check that I have all the same things. Yep. Cool. Not needing to type this for every single event sounds pretty much a win right there. Later on I might fuse this into the whole big giant thing of the NPC thingy, but it's fine. I'll wait. Once again, I was setting damage right there, catching an error on every single one of these. Nice. I get this too. This has to be done. I do really think I can actually tweak this a little bit here. I tweak it to be a little bit better. I could actually just put this below that and then just have this be a... Well, that seems like a lot of extra effort to change those, though. I think I would actually add more code than remove. Z-set, though, could probably be tossed on a player projectile one. Also, self-switch A, I think gets turned on by NPC 1, right? But it's only supposed to do it if it succeeds, I think. Huh. Alright. Let me check something really fast here. Okay, it is public. Good. Make certain I actually set this stream to public. Nothing like checking an hour and 40 minutes into it or something. At least I had it, correct this time, so... The meme is dead. I don't always mess it up, just most of the time. Alright, so cell switch D turns on there. Does cell switch A turn on all these? Yeah, right here. It turns A on right there if it can pass. Otherwise, it destroys itself. So there's no point in having these. A lot of these were copy pasted too, so there's that problem. Oh wait. This one actually does need a self switch A. Because it doesn't currently use the NPC thing. Could it run all this code and not care? No, it's pretty far off there, so I guess this can't recycle too much. A very specific event. And it's not a projectile, so, you know. It shouldn't have to behave like a projectile or use the same system as the projectiles. Alright. Player projectile 2. And let's go down the list here, because I think they all work about the same. Do they? This whole system is just currently wrong. It needs to be fixed. This whole spell is just weird. And the heal effect is not a projectile. I'm going to move all the different abilities over here that are not projectiles, so I don't have to keep looking at them. There's the lightning strike. There's going to be some serious refining going on these things here. I think it's just going to make use of those. And then this step towards a variable too. They're largely the same. The only one that's even slightly different is this one, because I was trying something new. It has a giant skip thing there that doesn't need to be there, and this doesn't need to be there. Yeah, I think I actually just want to recycle this for all of them. Rather than have to constantly figure out which one does what. It's just ridiculous. I guess it's Z setting every one of those too. I guess I could put that on there. Actually, that's reasonable. Just it's already in there, so it's just literally the same thing. Yeah, it's just the refined version of that. There's no reason not to just recycle. Where did I put that? In fact, it's actually the better version. I don't need Prodigy Block because I'm not going to use Scaled Map projectiles. There's already enough complicated systems going on here without yet another one. And you don't do anything special either. And I don't think I'm going to have the one that just goes towards a target necessarily. It's just a very old version of an event, so it's basically a defunct event. And this is the, oh gosh, just look at the nightmare that was. And then look at this wonderful version, how much nicer that is. I'm just saying, it's very good. What's going on with this? Why is attack 1? What am I looking at here? Page 3 is just weird. I guess I copied them all there. So what does NPC page 3 do? Where are we at? I have too many things open. Page 2. NPC page 3 doesn't do anything special. So in my mind, there is no point in having this here, and this one-tail projectile is already set. Right? Because it's set by player projectile 1. Right? Yeah. I'll keep a backup of this event just in case I need this information for somebody who's always using it. But otherwise, it doesn't seem like this is even necessary. It's just there. In theory, I could also put everything on NPC 1 and just have like a if player projectile, but that's adding a lot of extra code to events that don't necessarily need it. So I don't think I want to do that. I also don't need this project block thingy anymore. As we boldly fix our events so they are not stupid. Put there. I guess there's currently only 3 major projectiles. I don't even know what this nightmare is. Could those follow projectile 2's thing? I mean... No, because it's just stepping towards the thing. Unless it's towards the... I've set its location like right below, like 2 spaces below or something, maybe? They could actually do that. In this case, they're just moving up and then they're moving back down. They could move towards coordinates and they could follow the same idea. I don't know how necessary that is, though. For now, I don't think I'm going to do that. Those all work. Well, actually, let's do some testing. I've been heavily tweaking things and I haven't done a test in a bit. Make certain it all works. Oh look, OBS is having connection issues tonight. Cool. Nice. Those worked already. Oops. Did not freeze the enemy. Oops. That's odd. Does it poison them? Well, it doesn't if they die. Doesn't look like they can be poisoned. So the status thingy doesn't work right for them. Also, I don't see it spawn damage numbers a lot of times either. So they might end up dying and not actually spawn a number at that point. Huh. I really do think everything could actually get a step towards. But it would have to continuously update if it was the enemy ones, because the player is always moving. Otherwise, it would be they have to be really fast and you just go straight to where where the player is. That'd be kind of weird. Then there's these nightmares. Not the best setup. Makes me long for UE's artificial intelligence setup. But that is its own nightmare of code. Yes. Look at projectile 1 versus the player projectile here. See if I can fuse the two a bit. And this one just sets for that, right? And could these just be fused directly into the other thing here? NPC1 grabs this event ID. Actually, it probably can be. If I duplicate code, I don't know if that makes it terribly easier. I don't like having two different projectile systems, though. It's kind of a bit confusing. I would kind of like one. And that's kind of about it, so... Not much point in those. We just didn't even do anything. How does the system for this one even work? So it just does those self-destruct, and then it does projectile 1. Projectile 1 reads... It just sets a spawn table and then finds the direction of the player. And then it tries to move to the player once. And then turns itself off. And then MC1 handles literally everything. So it pushes it to the projectile array, which I think I need to do anyway. But I am doing. And then... Huh. I think I just need one called player projectile. I could just put it all kind of in there. Of course, that doesn't necessarily make it any better. But there could be a variant. Where it's just an extra variable it checks for, and not even a variant. No, it can just be player or not. And then right on the else if here, it could actually check that. Sure. Wait. Um. I guess it can't work. Player spawned, I guess. Equal. Player spawned. Or false. And then we'll do just an else because there's no reason to have an else if there in the first place. Just an else. Wait, isn't there? Just do an else and then do this. And then actually, right now, I do want an else if here. Else if player spawn true, do that. See the pecking order of how things are going to go. That's there, and then I guess there one last else if. Huh? Kind of a nightmarish method of doing this, but whatever. So I can just copy paste this like this. And then for this one here, wait a minute. I think I actually just needed to be different there, so actually yeah, because they have different behaviors, so I don't want that to be a thing. This lets me set the lifetime and self-destruct there, so I guess they don't even need that because spell info is a thing, right? Once again, the problem of having two different systems here. Where I'm trying to figure out exactly which one was which. And it does spell info. And on this one, it goes until time, right? That's not the projectile. That's not player projectile. I mean, I just set it as self-destruct. Am I doing that? Well, let's see. Poison actually has a thing here. But this one actually just spawns the event, and the event's what causes it. Alright, because this doesn't do anything. And this calls the spell info here. And why is it set the emitter position way down there? Set it up there so I can find it easier. Huh. Oof. Bit sore from the massage there. Oh, poison pool's its own special thing, right? Did I actually set one there? Not yet. Okay, well, I want to set them all to use exactly the same setup here. So, and they can also scale with the enemy levels too. This system is just better and should be the one that is adopted. The other one is not as good. So I guess I'm just going to start coding the other ones in here so they're all just kind of there, easier to find. Right now this one does the player projectiles, which just handles everything better. This one just doesn't have a lot of handling anything in particular. They're just heat seeking towards the player and that's it. Which makes them simpler, I guess, but yeah, okay, well. I may make an enemy level variable just for global for everything like that. Might not be that necessary though, but case am I putting them all in the exact same list? Or I'm putting the player ones separate. I'll just put them all in here in case. Annie, Bell, Shot, I guess. These don't make use of NPC too, do they? No, these do, but this one doesn't, right? It just doesn't. It just has its own NPC thing. So let's reward this other one to time. Right, because these are recycling time. Hmm. Yeah, 'cause this system doesn't even have a damage. Don't want to set a variable for enemy level. I'm not going to set it there, but I guess it can be an enemy level. So we're going to set the enemy level to just 1 for now. That way, Okay. So spell info is going to do that. The self-destruct there also no. Actually, the whole spawn system is just weird. Like this NPC stats, it's just it sets things that don't even matter. So I need to deal with that as well. A lot of systems in this are just not the best. I'll do if it's greater than 0. Do this, otherwise don't. Because they're not going to have those with us. So we're going to set level, damage, time, heal, and cost. It's fine. There's no cost for them, so it doesn't really matter. But there could be, but I don't think they're going to have magic systems. That's a little weird. The cost could also be a time. I'll let enemy level equal game variables value 86 was the number, I believe. Right? Yep. All right, so, and then I don't really need level to show up anywhere, do I? Other than just having that right there. That's fine, they can just set that. It doesn't really change anything. Image 0 there, self-destruct 200. I guess it needs to say 200 on the time. We're going to kind of push everything into the same system, so I don't have to try to figure things out. Oh, they're like 180. I want to be a little less ridiculous, though. It'll have 10 per. I'm pretty certain that's all it needs to do. So that won't be necessary. I still don't know why it needs enemy type. Object heal doesn't do anything. So E-type factors in right here. And then projectiles don't have an E-type, right? And they do. I guess I was just setting numbers in there. That system seems unnecessary, though. They have no hit points to worry about. I don't know what these other numbers even are. So 0 is the HP for it, not necessary. Can just all be the same one. Number 1 is damaged by. What is that even for? Damage is the next one. Again, not necessary. What a weird setup. And then right there, enemy type. Sorry, event type. What in the world uses event type? I don't even know. Well, first of all, these are all exactly the same. Oh, well. I don't think it's even calling this. Because it should be animating the events if that was the case. Animate event is an old version of a code from like a while ago before I changed my entire animation plugin. I don't know what in the world's going on with this, but let me tell you. This is just not necessary. Am I going to have E-types in there for any reason? I mean, it is a system that would let me do all that. The info could have been called here, and it could have just spawned stuff there for the projectiles. That's 2 projectile systems set up. Like, that's not that great. I don't think I need all that. That's just... I don't know why it's there. Actually, one check here. And this one, actually, the only one I was using literally was just setting that information. It's doing nothing. Okay, well, I don't need E-type then. And this can just say or 0. Confusing myself. I mean, there's a reason for E-type for everything else, but these are just straight up unnecessary. Okay, so there's that. Damage is now being set by that. Projectile 1 and player projectile are very different, though. I need to fuse those two together if I can. That one's not that interesting. They both set spawn table projectile. That's interesting to note. And then after that, we both run the spell info thing, which I guess I might as well fuse into there as well. Well, it's not going to have both. And then NPC one that there. Let me see if she even works. She's number 24. No, she's not 24. 18. Actually, I was in the middle of writing some code, so I probably should finish that code before I do that. I think it'll break otherwise. Alright, so... yeah, this will actually cover all this information here. Okay, I can do that. That makes sense. And these are just running NPC, right? No, the other one. I got backup of this one here so I can, in case I want to get it back for some reason. That'll set that here for purposes of right here. So I don't technically need this. This switches the self switch D on, right? D flip. Sounds like it flips D, right? Yep. That's fine. So we don't need this. And then We do need these though. Let me do some copy pasting here. Order of operations here. I don't know how much that's going to need. Let's going to do something for all these anyway, I'm pretty certain. Move that over to the side for a bit here. Using the player one here, so I have to keep looking around. And also, when I move this over there, I can actually use some of the stuff in art as well, so I can just recycle a lot of code. So it recycles this code here for 229. They both do. So I think the first thing that needs to really happen is actually going to be this is just up here, and it's going to trigger that. And then we'll have an else if on that, because I don't want to trigger these if that's the case. Means we're going to remove this code here. Because they will all do the same thing when we hit the environment, so I'm not too worried about that, which is what we're doing here, the map blocks. For destroyables, I don't know if I want the enemies to be able to destroy the destroyables. Decisions. I guess the cup still makes too much noise when I set it down. Okay. Well, for the player thing here, it has 229, and then it turns on D for those, and that's about the only thing that really changes, because they can destroy those and the enemies can't. So I kind of wonder if the enemy should be able to. Yeah, it's just like that, sure. I'm just telling you to flip on self-switch D, since I have my own thing that's set up to do all this, so I can do that. And then yeah, that part's identical. This part's identical. Flips that, so that means that we have these figured out. Right, those are collides, right? Yeah, okay. I hate else ifs, but unfortunately, I really do want only one of them to trigger, and it's going to go down the full list, so I need to make certain that it only triggers those. And then for the projectiles array, we know this needs to happen, where it's going to run MPC2 in the loop here. So that's what we're currently working on, MPC2. Which also reminds me, you have a player spawned option. Player spawned. We're just setting this one to true. Now all of the player projectiles have that, so they'll all run this code. But then when they're first made, I can just set them as game player X, right? I mean, the only real variance between these two is if they move towards the player or not. So they could both recycle the same thing. I guess the big difference is actually just right here. Yeah. So we'll do. There we go. They do it. Just with being lame and the keyboard falls asleep. It's very obnoxious. It quits early. I don't understand it. I mean, I'm still streaming for at least 27 more minutes, assuming I don't keep going longer than that. So, you know, yeah, like if I can keep working, it could keep working. The machines are getting late. Let's see. So we'll do if this is going to be a nightmare when I test it all. So just doing the whole thing. I'll get itself variable here. Spawned true. Let's do this. So if it's equal to true, now we're gonna do if status menu is off for all of it, right? Our enemy stop is off as well. I don't need to do that. I can just do this. It's fine. So if this is equal to true, does this. Otherwise, this. Now projectile 2 should do all of them. That's projectile 1, not 2. I'm sure I'm walking myself into quite the nightmare on this one, but it's already a nightmare figuring out what everything is. So I don't really think that it's terribly bad to trade one nightmare for at least a more organized nightmare. And then the only thing I haven't really changed is that. We're just going to do number 18 spawned in, I guess, map 2. And most of these music tracks are so samey, it's hard to tell them apart. Huh. So we'll leave 188 on here and just put 18 over here. So they're the only ones that actually are set up for the new system. Okay, come on, keyboard, you're being weird. Pay for an expensive computer and the little things on it don't work right. Everything else works great. And motherboard. No, we're not buddies. Okay, well, this doesn't work right. Player one works. Keyboard's being stupid. Actually, the enemy one works. Like, it hits me. Boom. Sure. I did hit him. Is that a duration thing? No, it's not necessarily hitting in front of me. Getting some errors or something? No. That works. I don't know if magic can do that. Okay. But it works, it's just you gotta be accurate. I think I need to introduce a weight on that. I'll have to check on that. Oh, whatever, it's not that important. It looks like it largely works. In fact, it seems to work just fine. I just wasn't hitting the right locations. Well, I'm surprised all that code worked. To be honest, that was a lot of code changing. And for it to work right the first time? Wow. Well, that makes this event worthless. I mean, the poisoning the enemies doesn't work quite right yet, but if I get it all in the same set of code, then that's fine. That'll work out. There's still additional information the player one needs to have. The player spawn thing is important. But what does projectile 1 have versus the other? Projectile 1, I'm going to make a copy of this and just drag it down so I'm not going to keep scrolling because it's kind of annoying, to be completely honest. I don't like it. I almost wonder if I want the projectiles to do the same thing where they just pick a point where the player is and then go racing after the player. Make the player move. I don't know. The thing is, the player moves pretty quick, so it's not like the bullets in the game, so the bullets go so fast the player really has a hard time dodging. In this case, they're not that fast. So, well, first of all, we know that spell info is going to need to be on all these anyway, right? Enable projectile 1. Oh, I'm not even doing that. I'm actually missing part of it. Oh boy. And both of them are going to do spawn table projectile, right? I just copied it out of it and actually remember what I copied. So spell info, yeah, sure. Game player last direction. I don't think that's necessary. So find direction to player versus... But why is it even doing this? Like, it's just giving me a direction, but I'm not setting it anywhere for anything, so... Why? What does find direction do that's so necessary in that equation here? It's a very archaic system. It returns something, right? Oh no, it sets new direction. Okay. This I did not know. So new direction, but okay. What does that even do? Nothing, right? Well, first of all, NPC 2 could just be on projectile 2. Right? There's no reason for it to be anywhere else. And then once the enemies are stopped, it'll actually won't keep running the code either, so. I will streamline this code yet. So I don't have to keep looking at it and wondering why I did this or that. It'll just make sense. I'm like, okay, well, I only have to look at one set of code and not replicate it over and over. Which is a very real problem going on here. I don't think it's even using this anymore, but that's okay. It doesn't really have to. And then... explain to someone that you know, a half an hour game really can go overboard, because this was just game jam game and here is being overboard. Projectile 1 NPC 1. Well, if they're going to do that, if they're all going to run NPC 1 on there, then I might as well just put it on projectile 1, right? And then we'll do this. And we'll just copy all the code. Because they're running MC1 after that, right? Yeah. That means that each of these just have to have player spawn listed in there. And that'll differentiate. Which is probably fine, honestly. I'm not opposed to that. Actually, is that MC1 there too? Yeah, okay. Highly unnecessary, this thing. So let's do this, copy both of those. Run over to this event, do exactly the same thing. Take that out. God, they're getting so much easier to just, you know, see what I need to do, or it's just going to be a few things and nothing special at all. In theory, I could write it into NPC 1 and 2 and just do that, but the big problem is movement. Like, I can handle everything else, but I have to do these, the movement in the thing. because the other thing operates within one frame, and movement operates within a lot more than one frame. So it does kind of restrict these things a bit. Yeah, so it just IDs what it is. And this also IDs player spawned. I think cell switch A is just covered by NPC1 though, right? So I don't need it. Yeah. Unnecessary. Come on. Silly keyboard. Already deleted it. Okay. Now another quick test. I will homogenize this code. My keyboard will also fall asleep on me, as usual. It just seems to be doing that a lot lately. I wonder if there's something wrong with the connector, because both the mouse and the keyboard are using the same connector, so maybe that's an issue. I don't know. But it's a little slow. Is my keyboard being stupid? Come on. Don't be stupid, keyboard. Oops. Everything appears to work great. I don't see any error messages. Nothing. All right. Well, I'm just doing great on all this code here. One of my specialties is actually sitting there and making the code more and more efficient. It's kind of what I tend to do with community lighting. I'm the guy who comes along and will often reduce the amount of code to accomplish the same thing. But I haven't done it in a while. A lot of health problems. I just wasn't into doing it when I just didn't feel that great. So now, however, I totally can do that. So I need to add all the other spell things to the spell table there so they can actually level up too, so they don't have fixed stats. And now that everything is using just these and I don't have to have these as well, that is pretty nice. Ideally, they would all just go into here, and then I would not need all these extra common events, and I could just run... Like, I could move it from game to game and have exactly these things set up ready to go. But... you know, whatever. So this is a fix for enemies specifically. Find direction. This sets game lost direction. Because I'm assuming the player is smart enough to turn towards whatever it wants. So nothing really fires based on direction anymore, so it's almost irrelevant. Like, it was useful when it was working off of that, but otherwise I don't think it actually has necessity anymore. Also, distance traveled I don't think actually matters either, right? I'm going to skip this. I'm going to see which of this even matters. I don't think any of it matters. This is already being set, so it's going to be set twice. How much easier this code has gotten. Enemy type, irrelevant. Yeah. Look at how much of this code was just a nightmare. It's just completely worthless. Yeah. I really want to make it so it just uses exactly the same code here. I also kind of want to make it so that these do exactly the same. So what I'll do is put one here. This code is a little different because this one iterates over and over, and this does also iterates over and over, but it does the whole page, whereas this just traps itself in a loop, which is actually what should be done here. Also, Z-set should just be at the... Oh, that's a loop, so Z-set needs to be its own thing here. Unfortunate, but a necessity. And, well... The triple move is because when I do pixel-based movement, triple move is the only way to actually move smoothly. Otherwise, doesn't seem to make too much difference. Okay, so we're testing to see if all the player information was necessary or not. Then I got to fix the poison system that wasn't even working on these enemies in the first place. So it was working on the bosses, but I must have not set the initial variables for them or something. That's true. That could easily be the case. You know, I think we've heard this music long enough. So I'm gonna put a few new ones up, because, yeah. Oh yeah, rocking it now. We going crazy here. Sure. Why are you all laggy and weird? What's going on here? Is it... Oh, it might actually be this... this stupid program might be causing the problems. What a terrible music player. Let's look. I need to see if it's making the Qt web processes or something mess up, causing the big error. No, it's not. It's causing a massive lag thing. Guess I can close my particle thing I don't need anymore. Something like going crazy here? What in the world? None of that other code is even running at the moment, so it shouldn't be an issue. I'm gonna take a quick test here and see if this if the music player is causing problems or not. It might be. Oh. You can hear the train in the background probably. Yeah, it's laggy and weird. Huh. A lot of these programs do weird things with each other, so it is entirely possible that one is messing with the others. So I will close them and figure out which one is doing it, or maybe just restart the engine here real quick. So let's test that real quick. Let's restart it. And then over to here. RPGMaker. See if it messes up or not. I'll put the music back on in a second. Yeah, it's just being weird, I guess. It does get a little wonky sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely not the best sometimes. Alright, so we were listening to some music. And I will put it right back up. Okay. All right, round two. Music's excited, and so am I. Excellent. Doesn't seem to really matter, huh? Oops, how about 4? I have no mana. That lets you go below 0. That's interesting to note. Caught there. I think it's just the keyboard being down. Doesn't seem to have affected anything. So when it uses the spells here, it's letting it go below 0, which I don't like. Which shouldn't actually be possible, because it's actually checked to see if it's equal or not, or above. But we will do, actually our game bar 57 is below that, so we will fix this with a ghetto fix, not a switch variable. MP is less than 0. It will now set itself to 0. That's good to know. We just established all those other things were completely irrelevant. Makes sense. Distance travel doesn't get used anymore. You don't do enemy types for those. I'm definitely going to have to go through and just fix all these systems. It's just, that whole spawning system was designed a while ago too, and it's just not very efficient or good. It's not great, no. The other question is do I want to set this to the player's location and just have them move faster? They kind of hunt the player down though, so I don't know. Decisions. Does find direction do anything? I'm gonna test that too. Let's just skip that because it seems unnecessary to me. But it might have been some weird system I included in previously that I no longer remember what it does. Apparently I thought it was good enough to have a function that literally does it for me, or at least finds the information and sets it as a self variable, but why? Just why? Seems crazy to me. But a lot of this code was written years ago, so, you know, I had better versions and apparently oh, no, that's working now. I wonder what was causing that. Seems effective. They're doing more than one? They're only doing 1 damage though. Okay. Why are they only doing 1 damage? Worth noting, this really doesn't seem to do anything. I'll leave it for now though, just in case. It's possible that when I test the other projectiles, it really did do something, and I'd really feel stupid if I did. This doesn't work very well. The collide thingy, like they were hitting each other and breaking, so I don't really think that is very efficient. Even the player one doesn't seem that great. I think the reasoning for it, though, is NPC2 actually has a thing that destroys him, right? Let's see. It does not. Hmm. 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 This is definitely one problem that I would like them to both have the same thing. They just need this. Like if they both said a thing here that did exactly that. But technically this already does exactly what I was looking for. Right? Well, actually, how different are these really? And also, why do I need enemy stop and status menu? Like, doesn't that seem a little redundant? Like, if the status menu's on, it's going to stop them anyway. God, so many of these old systems are just there, and they're making everything so complicated for no reason. Okay, well, that's why we're keeping enemy stop right there. You see that? That's why we're keeping it. And then, wait, status menu is the other one? Wait, what? Which is actual status menu. It's not actually... Okay. I'm sure there was a reason I had two of these. It must have been. Okay, well, they're both used immensely, and I'm not about to go through and remove each and every instance of that. That's just not what I want to do with my time. So they both get to stay. Can I homogenize it? Well, the player projectile isn't going to move either during that. But I get the feeling I can actually just ignore enemy stop. Wait a minute. Where was enemy stop at? I mean, really? Page 2. So, okay, it's just that. Kind of feel like I could homogenize this code to some. But can I really? I don't know. Maybe not. I'd rather homogenize the code right here. So we can just do if enemy stop is off here. Right? And then right here, move all this outside of this. Grab this code here. And in this loop here, I'm gonna put that now. Now this needs to go inside this loop. So if it's true, it equals this. Otherwise, it can just move towards the player. It can do all three moves towards the player, just in case there's a reason why I had this there. There must have been a reason I did it. Well, I think enemy stop was actually for cutscene things. That's what it was, because I didn't always want the menu on. That explains it. Alright, that seems reasonable enough. Now it'll iterate itself over and over. Which then means... yeah, we just do that. And this loop, it doesn't break itself, so... it almost makes me wonder why there even needs to be a loop, but I think there was a reason for it. Whatever the case, one set of code that does everything sounds fantastic. Let's see, there can be an if here that says if it reaches its location. Yeah. Sometimes it bounces around all weird like that. I don't like that. Should I just have an if thing there? Those. This here. Is that? Oops. I can hit the right key here successfully. Building tools. Distance. This event ID .x. And then it's not that. And then we will have this are equal to, I guess, 2? 1. If that's cell switch D on here. Sounds all like a football player. Some cell switch D on. Some person. It's the coolest cell switch D on. Nice. Alright, so that should cause the projectiles to destroy themselves as they get within their range and not just bounce around all weird. Like they're looking for the prey that's not there, and they're like, why'd you fire me here? What's up with that, buddy? You could have fired me somewhere else. There's nothing to hit here. Oh my god, jeez. They just get all angry at you and they start flying at you instead. That'd be funny. Angry projectiles. make them super powerful, but if they miss, they come flying after you instead. Worst projectiles ever. That was interesting that it kind of bounced for a second there. It's not operating terribly well. Why is that? So if they reach their distance, they're supposed to do that. That might actually just be too far away. Oh. What I failed to realize is what it actually is getting there is the screen coordinates. Yeah. I think, right? Let me double check that. It is adding canvas to map X. Yeah, those are pixel coordinates. That explains why it's getting all weird on me. It's like, what am I doing with this? These are hundreds off. Why? Why would you do this? Alright, so oh, it's actually like half an hour later since the last time I checked. Time flies when you're breaking things. So we have to use the cube movement stuff. Well, the whole goal tonight was just to streamline the stuff. Actually, the goal was originally to do some enemy behaviors, but in reality, what now happened is fixing this, and then I did add one new thing in there. And I got to go through and add them for all of them, but it'll be a system that levels up the projectiles too, so they will get stronger. I should have named them like PX and PY for the self variables just to make it easier to remember their pixels, but I did not. I don't know if I want to go through and change all the code for that either. Works way better. Yep. Cool. All right, so I need spell info for all of them too. Not in that one. NPC does it. Also, I need to figure out why this isn't working. I need to code it in right here. That might be something to do a different night. I think I'm just gonna fix that a different night, and I'm gonna do this tonight. So any bell shots. Yeah, I see. Unless I need something specific, it's just going to be this. So we're going to need that. We're not going to need that. We will need spawn event, status, duration, that. But not those. And we'll put 190, no, I think so. 188 back in there. This is why we do this, because if this is all I have to do to make it, work, instead of a whole new projectile thing, that's pretty good. So I am thinking I kind of want them to go towards a location that they pick up, and then I can actually just have it be a little less ridiculous than them just chasing the player. Like that boulder from like UHF, that old joke movie where the boulder's like rounding corners and chasing the guy through the streets and everything. Ancient movie, but listen, cult classic, so, If you haven't seen it, you should watch it. UHF has Weird Al Yankovic in it. Don't worry about it. Worth the watch even now. Oh, that thing's broken. Well, it poisons the player, but it is not moving towards the player. Okay. Well, it's recycling the same information. And it's just using projectile 2. I guess my question is, but why? Because they hit each other? I get the feeling I don't need all that. Hmm. No, that's fine. So where's the mistake here? So the difference between this, like that, I don't need. PC2? Page 2. Hmm. Oh. So they'll go towards the player. If they get near there, they do that. I might actually switch the variant there and have different distances written into here just to make it easy, since this is a document literally for built for Pop Quest, so it's just most of the code of it to make things do stuff. Oh. I'm a little interested in this not actually moving. It's nearly identical, except for it has a few additional information thingies, but those shouldn't actually dictate if it actually fires or not. Unless they were just hitting off of each other. I guess it's possible. I think once I solve this, I'm going to call it for the night. As fun as it is to constantly change my code up like this. It's already been 3.5 hours. Well, 3 hours and 23 minutes, which is 23 minutes longer than I was guaranteed to stream, so yeah. We'll see. I mean, maybe I might just get caught up in wanting to continue, but I don't know. Don't move. Alright. I was gonna say, there's no reason it shouldn't move. Yeah, it goes towards the player just fine. Nothing's weird about it. Cool. And I have a little, poison thingy that appears. Alright. So that's fixed. Cool. I think I'm just going to make them all generic at first, and then just change it up from there. Oops. So I don't have to deal with this problem. I kind of want this to be a thing, but it really does seem like it would be way too much extra effort. I mean, ZSEC could probably be on all of them. Yeah. Oh yeah, the jacks need to be fixed too. I guess I could start writing those in too. Spell info. I can just put them in here and then change it up later. You know, this is kind of serving as the end-all be-all of things that it does. I could actually just have this spawn the stuff too. I don't know if I want to do that though. I mean, it just kind of set up the projectiles, doesn't it? I know, but spell info is also called by the menu, so I don't really want it to spawn those. It'd be on the event creation, so NPC1 I think would be. Because NPC1 calls object creation, or set of object, which would be where I'd want it to be. And I guess I do have the event object there. I could actually have it set them up here too. And then they would all just be tied to whichever thing is there, and I wouldn't have to have, well, commands in here, which just are way less efficient. That seems like something that I don't want to do right now, though. Let's get my copy pasta on here. This will make balancing way easier because I'll just be able to go straight over to spell info here and just start tweaking the numbers to however I want, and it'll just work. It'll Todd Howard. It'll just work. What else we got here? I'm going to probably want one for each individual one, honestly. For now, we'll just make them all jack shots, and I'll just alter them a different day. Just so I have the new system set up and ready to go. I don't really want to figure out numbers right now. So we'll do like Annie Bell boss shot. There you go. Sure. And then I'm gonna put them next to each other so I can keep better track of where all the Annie Bells are. And then we'll have a Jack boss shots. He doesn't actually fire the projectile anymore, does he? He just makes the little fire things. So I don't know if I even need that. Little pyro box. And then there's the teddies don't do it. This one does. Oops, not that. Teddy boss shot, I guess. I don't know. Actually, Teddy boss sword throw, I guess. All right. I still got to fix we have the tiger kitties and the berries that I made that aren't even going to be in, and the voodoo dolls. There's like 3 sets of completed enemies that I'm not even going to put in this version because, well, the tiger kitties just, they seem redundant. They're kind of cool though. I don't know. I might kick the clown heads out for them. And the berries just right now seem like the tiger kitty. They seem very redundant to them too. And the voodoo dolls are just broken. Something with the animation just causes the game to crash. So I don't know. I don't want to solve it right now. Just gonna say it. I don't want to solve it right now. Teddy, boss, sword throw. That'll be good enough for now. Okay. And then I think that's it for now. I don't think I need to make any other changes. This poison thingy does nothing because this one exists. So, God, look at how ridiculous those were before. And now look at how pretty it is. Oh yeah, look at that. So good. And that is exactly why we refine our code. Because, yeah. I don't know if I really want to go straight towards the target, though. I really just think this is worthless. Pretty much, yeah. I guess I could keep the code for purposes of maybe making enemy projectiles that just go towards weird targets. But at that point, I would just have them randomize their X or Y. And then fire. Yeah, like I don't think it needs to do that. I don't know. I think that method just kind of sucks. I'll leave it. I don't really want to get rid of it right now necessarily. Um, Yeah, I think I pretty much got it. My beautiful new projectile system, which is so much simpler. So many lines of code. Saved. We're not going to use the voodoo doll boss. Let's just put that over there so I'm accidentally use it. Ah, yes, the badasses I'm going to add. They're just like big versions of stuff. But we're not doing it right now. Bugaboo is probably not getting added. I don't even know what this is for. We'll banish it to the realm of not sure why it's even there. Attic blocks 1. But I have an attic blocks 1. Why is there this here? I do not know. It should not be. The floating clown head boss. Oh, gal projectiles. Yeah, screw that. Apparently the clown boss is broken, so I'm not sure I'm going to actually bother to keep it, but we'll move them away from here so I get a better idea of where they're going. So these are the attic blocks. I'm honestly going to move up here so I can find them easier, since they are what builds the entire environment for the attic, so it seems like I might want to keep them separate from where all the enemies are. And this is the floor for it. And then... And these are destroyables that I guess only go in this area, right? So I guess I want them to look like be specific to this area. The enemies don't have to be. I might make a new background and put all the enemies in an area. I'm not sure where the enemies are going to go right now. They're just kind of everywhere. And these are all those things there. I need a place for all the player stuff too. So I think I'm going to make a new one of these and have that available so people can... Also, I can have a better organization method. But I think that is something for another day. All right, well, I'm going to call it tonight. Thanks for everyone who sees this. I'll be back on tomorrow night at 1 a.m. Pacific time. Other than that, I'm probably just going to do... Well, I'm going to fix the whole poison and slow system and freezing system. Basically the status ailment system for the enemies especially. It seems to work for the players. I might add in a slow thingy as well for the player. Like I have it there, but nothing actually uses it. So I might do that. And then I need to make the Annabelle boss do more. To make the bosses just cooler in general. They're not that interesting at the moment. They need to do a lot. And then I think the Teddy boss is already kind of obnoxious as is. So I might improve them too. But I definitely need to fix those. There's not a whole lot left that needs to be done before this is going to be like the prototype is available, to be honest. Like I'm not even sure what I'm going to do all of next week. Like I just need to fix these projectiles and add a few more attacks and things. But I mean, the area 1 is already available and it can already do 6 things there. There's no story yet, but there's not going to be much of a story for the prototype. Just an explanation of what you're doing. Because I don't really care about story for prototype. I want to see if everything works for players first before I worry about it. So there might be a really simple story I'll make. But other than that, yeah. What else am I adding? I don't need any item. Well, I guess an item for mana. I'm gonna make a list of all these things here as I'm saying them out here because you know I need like a mana item. I need to balance the progression. Update enemy abilities. Or I guess well, like give enemies new behaviors and abilities. And then what else did I say? Oh yeah, fix status ailments on enemies. I might also streamline the these other ones that are just placed events. That might be a thing too. So streamline placed attacks like firewall. just in case that's not scripted enough for me. What else do I need for it to be that? Like, I need a little explanation what to do. But besides that, I think that's pretty much everything. I guess I got to make the fortune teller lady do something. So so way to level up spirit forms, which you're gonna have. So fortune teller. Two words here. Fortune teller. Item to collect. That's to level up. I guess ghost forms. Call it that. You make it easier. So that's kind of it. So if I can accomplish those few things here, my list of toys here, it should be playable and good. I mean, it won't be like a great game, but it's intended to be a game I don't perpetually work on, but I keep improving as time goes by. Like I was going to keep working on stream, giving people something to watch, and letting them play the game for free because I don't. I mean, I've put things on itch before. I've seen the amount of downloads you get. Anybody who thinks they're just going to toss their game up and make a bunch of money is fooling themselves. I remember I had my Game Jam game up, this one actually, for a month, and it had something like 44 downloads. It was a free game, okay? Free. Think about that. Even if everyone had given me $5 for it, $220. Not worth the time. So, it'll just be free. I'll let people try it out, and, people will be able to tell me ways to improve it, things I should add, things I should take out. I don't know, just stuff, and I'll just keep making it better and better. Gives me a way to make content and a way to interact with people without them having to actually watch the stream even, too, because you could just sit there on itch and be like, this game sucks, and tell me why, and I will prove it. But anyway, that's the road ahead. I'm still going to try to release this by not this Saturday, but next Saturday. We'll see. It's always just going to be a prototype, so it doesn't have to be too amazing. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, I will catch everyone later. Have a wonderful night, morning, or whatever. And see everyone who wants to watch tomorrow night at 1 a.m. Pacific time. Catch you later.